Pharmaceutical Predation, Insulin, Competence, and the Commodification of Survival. The Sacklers can go to hell. That might seem beside the point, but it's not. This ain't about opioid epidemics, but it is about corporate greed. It's also about insulin, biologics, immunosuppressants, anti-seizure medications, the whole shebang. It's about the whole corrupt core of the system we live in. The system is compassionless, cruel, exclusionary, pick your adjective, darlings. We all know it's not working, but we don't always want to admit it. Let's stop pretending this is someone else's problem, yeah? It belongs to every single one of us, as shared trauma and continued suffering. The government, the corporations, they make no bones about it. They think we are the problem. They hand off responsibility and call it reform. They say this is your problem, not ours, but please make sure we keep getting our six-figure salaries. We end up with school lunch programs on the chopping block, kids going hungry, and some of us are calling it victory, as if we are driving the train. If a child starves, it ain't a victory. If a mother has to decide between clothing, electricity, or food, then she is a victim, not proof of concept. They let us all down, day after day, and we smile our way through it, keep feeding our souls to algorithms and population metrics. Some of us are out here facing real existential dilemmas. Never seen that in action? Don't worry, I brought the receipts, my friends. I have LADA, latent autoimmune diabetes in adults, which is a liminal form of the illness. It's not quite type 1 and it's not quite type 2. LADA, along with type 1 diabetes, isn't triggered by lifestyle. Here is essentially what is going on inside me. Hormones are like letters the body sends to itself. They say, liver, this is how you are supposed to react to this fatty acid. Pancreas, you're doing too much or too little. Stop functioning for a bit. I was immunocompromised for a long time, almost 4 years, and all those little letters between the hormones and the organs stopped coming. Or their communications turned out something like an AI hallucination. Dear pancreas, blort fecund on the Fulton. Warmest schmimsy the hormones. To mitigate this malfunction, I have had to outsource the work of the pancreas to an insulin pump. The pump requires a stable insulin, which in this case is aspart. Novolin pig pancreas insulin does not work in the pump. You can use it in an emergency, but it is highly unstable, like the decade from which it emerged. I'm looking at you. 1970s. This month, everything was set for me to get my supply of aspart, but man plans and bureaucracy laughs. My endocrinologist's nurse sent in a new prescription in a timely manner, got the pre-authorization. She did everything right. When my brother, God bless him, went to Walmart to pick it up for me, the pharmacy told him it would be ready in about 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, they told him they couldn't fill the Mounjaro. Wait, you mean the weight loss drug? Yeah, that ain't insulin. Here's the part that grates. They had my prescription in their system, but every time I tried to get it filled, they would begin the process of filing Mounjaro. Where did Mounjaro even come from was my question. The Walmart staff didn't even bother to look in their system. They just kept relying on what was clearly broken automation and then acted like it was all on me, my insurance, and my doctor. But all of the elements that were getting the blame were the only elements working as they should. After 2 weeks of this back and forth, I was done in the same way a turkey is done, stringy and dried out, a little sleepy. I stayed calm until it was clear they weren't going to fix anything. When I asked for the failure code they're legally required to provide, the pharmacy tech to provide it refused. I told her that was illegal, flat out, 100% illegal, more illegal than marijuana on a military base. I said as much. You're brushing up against a legal issue. I'm not a litigious person, so I wasn't threatening a lawsuit. I was just pointing out what her training should have pointed out. And look, I'm not saying that I balk at litigation because I'm virtuous or better than you. Lawsuits just seem futile. You can sue, embark on a long legal battle where you feel like Aaron Brockovich without the boobs and maybe win some money, but nothing ever changes. I just wanted them to do their job. Period. Or period, as my millennial friend says. For pointing out the legal issue, I was banned from Walmart Pharmacy for threatening legal action. Banned for even mentioning the only system meant to defend us ordinary folk, the law and the courts. A pharmacist shouldn't have that kind of power. My last words to her were, shame on you. You don't get to decide who deserves access to medicine based on how comfortable you are with being corrected. What's worse, my brother got caught up in this bureaucratic feedback loop. He went to help me and ended up getting the same runaround. That's how this system works. The guilt lands on everyone else, but the guilty juke and jive until you finally give up. Don't give up. That's what they want. And they, in this instance, is not the white man, the imperialist, the right-wing pundit. The they is the corporations that have commodified existence. They wield incompetence, like Shield and Crocus. In the wake of my banning, I moved the prescription to my local pharmacy. Same doctor, same insulin, same insurance, but no problem. The head pharmacist there is a guy that first went to high school with. He's been there since it was an Eckerd, which tells you how far back he goes. That's what competence looks like. He knows what he's doing, and he cares enough to do it right. The same current ran in the woman from my insurance who ultimately helped me solve the problem. She was calm, direct, and completely competent. I told her she did an amazing job. I said 5 out of 5 stars. She laughed. But that's what competence gets you. Kindness. Because competence itself is a form of kindness, built out of empathy and compassion. If you don't give a damn about what you're doing, you'll always be incompetent. 10 out of 10, and I don't mean stars this time, I'm talking about a failure ratio. Walmart is the prime example of this 10 out of 10 failure. The corporation likes to brag about its $25 insulin. They call it affordable. But is that really affordable when the price of eggs is higher than it has ever been? Someone might say, well, don't buy the eggs, buy the insulin. Madam or Mr., bite me. Insulin and food are complementary elements. Insulin without food leads to hypoglycemic crash, which can kill you. Food without insulin leads to hyperglycemia, which can kill you. See how that works, hypocrite? And here is the galling part of the $25 price tag. We think it's reasonable, but that pig insulin costs them pennies to make. A Spart costs $85 for a vial that probably costs 5 cents to produce. That's not supply and demand, that's greed. It's treating survival like a luxury good. And it ain't just insulin, it's pain meds, seizure meds, immunosuppressants. Anything people need to live becomes a boutique product, with Starbucks pricing. The cherry on top of all this, I tried to report the pharmacy's failure through Walmart's so-called ethics site. There's no email address or form, only a phone tree that loops until you hang up or land in some country you've never even heard of, talking to someone who barely speaks English. I'm not mad at you, man or woman grinding to feed your family. The language barrier doesn't mean we can't be human to each other. Anyway, Walmart ethics isn't accountability. It's ethics divorced from ethics. When people say the system's broken, I think it's worse than that. It's working exactly how it was designed by shifting every single burden to you. The system gives the pretense of sympathy while not actually doing anything. It's all theater, the set dressing of evil, the packaging of meaninglessness. Real empathy fixes things without saying, look at me fix this thing. Real competence says, I can pick up the slack where the system fails. The nurse cared enough to send the prescription right. The woman at insurance cared enough to follow through. The pharmacist at Walgreens cares enough to do the job clean. None of them are saints, and they don't pretend to be saints. They are simply competent. Competence is exactly what kindness looks like in a compassionless system. Competence is care. Period. Kindness is what happens when someone does their job with the intention of making things better for the human, not easier for the system. We can't keep acting like it's somebody else's responsibility. The responsibility belongs to us, you and me, not them, because they don't care if we live or die. I care if you live or die, but above that, I care how you live and die. I would rather you be full of peace and surrounded by love than overwhelmed by anxiety and systems fatigue. Competence, while it may not be love, is where love begins, in kindness. Competence, though it may not provide complete peace, provides you a portion.